lyrically, I mean, that shit was crazy. So yeah, that's my choice. I love it.
Yeah, well,
I love the whole record.
artwork wise, polished,
amazing for something that like when
polished.
When you look at it,
not
it's
in a
like,
way that like if we were talking like Unbroken would be ruined by polish. Mm-hmm. This is made by it because you can hear everything so clear. It's got punch, like a.
But it's not.
Greg says attack,
but
like it's
not,
got that.
It's not as polished as like Set It Off. It's still like somewhere in between there. Like it's.
But Set It Off sounds a little bit muddy at times.
No, Set It Off sounds like the ultimate studio record. Like everything is triggered and big. Anyway,
the
Call My Brothers. I choose it.
Yeah,
fine.
It's a fantastic record.
Yeah, I love it. And it sounds the best on clear vinyl on Conversion Records,
but
which I still have.
The thing that you were saying, like the sincere, insincere thing, is like that only comes when people want to live off of doing the band. So they have to make choices that don't set in line with the general, like, you know, the core of the hardcore scene. You know, you kind of look at things and you're like, oh, you've got a guitar deal with this person. You change into your Vans before going on stage because you're sponsored by Vans. You know, so there are those things where you look at it and you're like, ugh. But as you get a bit older, you're like, well, you know, it must have been cool to be able to live off being in a band.
I look at those things as amazing.
Yeah,
Guitars are fucking expensive.
That doesn't. But none of that stuff bothers me at all.
Nah, I fuck with you.
And I don't.
You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
There's a level of where it's like, are you just, you know,
dude? If you're scooping Pelican shit every weekend, you're gonna need new shoes. So these are trade-offs. Okay, go ahead.
Shout out to the Sea Shepherds.
That's all right.
All right, Greg.
So this might, again, some people will be like, it's not a hardcore record, or no, they're.
Was your hot take one?
I don't think it's a hot take at all. I definitely could see some older California people being like that's not a hardcore band, but I don't know. I mean, in the classic definition of the term hardcore, maybe they don't fall under that, but I don't know. I don't think you could ever take them out of hardcore because they all come from it. It was Marauder's Master Killer. And that's going to be my number 3 pick.
I don't think anyone would say that it's not hardcore, right?
Well, it's definitely, I mean, like, first of all, you want to talk about production values. I mean, this
rival Set It Off.
This thing sounds huge and still not in that, like, completely overproduced sound.
No, it's like
it's just huge. Just that's how you want it. Like you just want everything to be like magnified.
This record and the 25 to Life Keeping It Real CD are like the two like most monotone, like awesome sounding records.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to describe it, but I would say it's very monotone and riffy, and I love it. No, I think it's a great choice.
So I think, and it's another. I mean, other than the fucking ridiculous cover art. Which I know, who did the reissue? I think Reaper did a reissue of it with some like newer drawn artwork. It's kind of
There's been like a bunch of represses.
Yeah, but to get back to it, I think just like the history of the band, where you get like, it's just like Puerto Rican dudes from like the New York hardcore scene. So that's already slightly different than like your average hardcore band that's.
Except for District 9.
But for them to I mean, first of all, you have like the original singer.
Have we talked about District 9 enough? We should
We
circle
have a
back.
fucking podcast about District 9.
I think we need to do the acapella payback one more time, just so someone can set it to music.
Nah, this time we're doing Behind Red Tape.
So you have like the history, like prior history of the band. You have
Shit, sorry.
man, they
Sorry.
ain't fucking.
Sorry.
You ain't have the whistle stop yet, dude. Anyway, so prior history of the band, you know, different singer, minus, it has a completely different vibe of it, just off the demo of it. And then, you know, they sign to Century Media, they get Jorge, and it's just, I mean, it's just a fucking juggernaut of a record. Definitely sounds like, you know, demo songs made it to the LP, and you could definitely tell that they had time to like work these songs live, work them in like whatever club they were playing, and get them like exactly where you need to be, especially guitar player Saab, like, and it's just that perfect blend of total tight metal playing, which I mean, it's got the production values of like a death metal record of the time.
Yeah, and they
actually
do,
I think it has some kind of better production
because you can hear everything.
because you can hear everything.
Yeah.
Where I don't think some of the other death metal bands at the time doing the lower tunings, I don't think like the amps were just there yet to really get like the crunch, which this record has like tons of like just crunchy guitars, and it just like, and then so, but then you put the vocals on top of it, and that's what doesn't make it like a death metal record at the time,
Right.
you know. But Jorge still has like this interesting growl where it's not like your typical like hardcore shouting, and then it just, I don't know, I don't think there, you don't skip a track on this fucking album at all. To me, it's like you play it all the way through. I don't think there's a dud on it.
No, and it's amazing because for you talking about how tight it is, they do like these very minor tempo changes when they like drop to different breakdowns. They give it like that extra like,
Exactly.
you know?
No, because you
and it's like it's interesting because so you know that when they do that with all the like the minor tempo changes, that they're that tight and they're definitely not like playing to a click track. So it's like for the drummer to be like that tight and to play on a record that's this like monotone and produced and to not be like playing to a click track is pretty wild.
I forgot the name of the drummer on this thing, but I mean just the whole fucking lineup. I mean these dudes are just top players. Yeah. But then another thing that I love about it is like these weren't like fucking like dorky metal nerd dudes either, which I think you can totally hear that like how they're attacking the instrument, how they're playing it. So it's definitely not like, oh, I get to like sit and practice all day. It's like, oh, like I was practicing my guitar. I went to CB's. We got in like the biggest fight ever. We stabbed the dude. I came back and then I fucking practiced like Slayer. Like, and you know, it always warms the heart when you have like a bunch of skinhead dudes that grow their hair out and just it's just, I don't know. It's such like a New York creation too. So that's it's definitely why it's on my top 5. Just the fact that you just don't skip a track on it. And let's not do the influence of it now. So maybe when it came out at the time, I don't know if it made, since you guys are from the era, I don't know if it made a big impact as it did. But holy shit, like my generation and future generations now, I mean, like every band has like the Marauder riff, the Marauder part. You know, I mean,
with you talking about the Terror influence, Daniel, I mean, this is the band and the record that Vogel rode for.
Exactly.
You know, so
the huge. So
this is before my time though. This is 94.
No, this came out from what I got because I'm a fucking poser. It says 96. So
I don't know.
Yeah, but
for California, it was definitely a little more hardcore adjacent. I think
exactly.
And I don't remember. I mean, the first time I saw them was like a couple years ago.
Yeah, they never came through. And
yeah,
it's one of those things where the influence of this band was that the singer would fuck you up. It's what you heard more about than even about the music. You know, like it was
True.
like the singer of this band is fucking gnarly. Like all the stories about him more so got into the scene than the yo. You need to check out the record.
And it makes sense. Well, also too, the band kind of imploded as well with each other. Like there was always some sort of like struggle. That's always a clear
That's
indication.
a New York thing, though.
No, but that's always to me like a great indication of like a great band is when it's just like there's so much like the band itself can't even stay together because it's just so much like heat and personality clashes, but like everyone is so fucking good that they're able to kind of just get it together just to like cut this like slab of wax. So
what does that say about your band being together for 15 years now, Greg?
That we're not good. I mean, I like we're okay, but we're not like good because we like you have like two dudes working together right now. I've worked with other members. Like if we all, I mean, I've definitely, damn, this is getting all personal right now. No, I'm just saying that it's actually a fucking Ian. I think the Ian MacKay quote where he's just like great bands like fucking hate each other as like when it's a thing, or just like fucking like like you kind of have this like, I wouldn't say hatred, but like is despise the word, whatever. You kind of
probably talking about Van Halen or some shit.
You kind of beef each other because it's just a clash of
there's
like
too much creative energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be an argument. I think that's a dumb phrase and a terrible way to look at things, but that's cool. I think your band should be like a unit, and like you're writing for something together, hopefully a common cause.
No,
well, it's funny if that is an Ian quote because he's got along with everyone.
No, I forgot
the bands are all friends,
where I saw it from, but he said it was talking about Minor Threat and like why it was so explosive. It was like a lot of them were like definitely would argue.
Oh
like,
yeah,
all the time.
They all bring strong opinions,
exactly,
and they would bicker, and they were 20.
Yeah.
You know, bickering.
Getting,
I know.
I think that's probably an overlooked piece of it, right? Like the age.
Definitely. I mean, you also see
like
them practicing in another state of mind, and there's tension
Yeah.
in the room while they're practicing.
So-
well, they're practicing in a closet.
Yeah,
No,
but still,
yeah.
like, you can tell.
I feel tense. Our room right now is pretty big, but I'm fucking hot.
So go ahead and delete.
I want to eat a chip at normal speed.
Go ahead and delete all that drivel I said, and then just chime in when you came in about the Minor Threat.
No, people love Greg.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, you got to get Greg here all the time. Mm-hmm. So they want to hear a little bit about your life, man. I like that you open it up like that.
Sorry.
So
would the singer take offense? Fuck up the singer of Marauder.
No, but what happened, and has happened, is that they would just smoke weed together and get drunk, which that has occurred like at least 3 times.
And I'm not advocating violence.
Yeah.
I'm a non-violent proponent.
Yeah, we all are. But yeah, people want to get to know you, dude. So what's your relationship like with your mother?
No, I love my mom. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love their mom?
What did you get her for Christmas last year?
A tortilla chip.
A tortilla chip. Trying to eat.
Crunch.
Oh fuck! I got her something good, but why can I not remember? Because it's on the spot.
What's her birthday?
It is April 3rd.
Of?
Huh?
What year?
Oh, the year. I don't know the year. I'm a fucking terrible son.
Who's next? Okay, I'll go. Oh, you wanna? Who's up? I'll go. I'm going Outspoken, A Light in the Dark.
I see this world till that world's apart. I just daydreaming. I just daydreaming.
Definitely 90's. And you guys have this?
Nah.
Daniel?
No, I don't have it, but they're a very influential 90s band / 90s California band, especially, you know?
Yeah, with me talking about Asher Turn being like one of the good... I love hardcore songs about hardcore. I don't fucking care. I'm very unapologetic about it. And A Light in the Dark is like another one of those, like, just this is what I believe, this is what I'm sticking to, and like, that's me. And A Light in the Dark has the fucking best lyrics, straight up. And it's drivey. Just like the Verbal Assault, this is probably my second favorite album to drive to.
Also, the Smiths, There Is a Light in the Dark, like, that always drew me into that song in particular.
Yeah.
As well as, I know Hartsfield was a mega Smiths Moz fan, you know. I'm sure maybe the rest of the band were, but...
Another, like, dark album cover, you know, like, the imagery matches, like, the sound. Daydream, like, that is, like, very bouncy, up-tempo, but it's, like, dark, and it's got those fucking weird whale noises. Like... And, like, that weird guitar part comes in over it. Like, they do, like, the acoustic guitar comes in over, like, the mix. I'm just daydreaming. One of the most brilliant songs ever. The riff on This Human Machine.
Well, that's an example of, like, the emotions. You know, some people would kind of consider Outspoken being, like, closer to Youth Crew-ish, like, dudes and whatnot, but the emotion of the time that is the vein that runs through everything, and the sincerity and the because, like, look at the merch, like, Straight Edge isn't cool anymore, so what? Like, they're in that post-Youth Crew thing where bands like you know, other bands are saying, like, for example, you know, post Fugazi too, like, don't fucking slam at shows and whatnot. And it's just like, no, we want pile-ons. We want everyone to just get everything out, be emote to the max, but also live, like, let's bring hardcore back in a way, you know, at the same time, fusing those two worlds where it's like, yeah, I love this stuff, but I also fucking still play GB and YOT all day long on my record player.
Yeah, and then Hartsfield's he's not shying away from, like, the metal tinge either. Like, he's playing a straight up Jackson heavy metal guitar. Yeah. So, the riff, like, on the bridge catchy part of, like, This Machine Pushes On, with, like, starting with, like, the drum rolls, like, This machine pushes on, and then switching to the hi-hat, fucking next level. I just love this record all the way through. It's so serious. It's so it's straightforward and drivey, and then it's just got that early 90s new
tempo.
Age dark tinge, and yeah, there's no fast parts. It's all like
new age tempo.
Yeah, it's
straight up.
It's no faster than, like, the Integrity fast beat, but they're not hanging on to, like, open notes. Everything is, like, riffed, and it's sick. I love it.
Backups are screamed, not you know.
Yeah.
Backups are like,
I love it. Have you ever listened to this record?
No.
Oh, it's one that I think you will fall in love with.
In my personal purview, Outspoken and Undertow are very much together in my mind, because I had a tape that had this record on one side and Undertow on the other side, and the bands are fused in my mind because they really have a lot of similarity kind of going on. But you just talk to, like, some older heads in OC, and they can't say any band mattered more to them than this band.
Yeah, do you think that this is the best thing they put out, or do you think the Current is the best thing?
I like this.
Yeah, this is my absolute favorite. I think that they're an LP band. The Current is a beautiful 7-inch. I love the first one too.
Yeah, I listen to this a lot more. I love
an LP band.
Yeah, and that they're standing for something blatantly. I go back to that T-shirt. That T-shirt is arguably one of the best pieces of merch of all time. Yeah, Straight Edge isn't cool anymore on the front, and then So What on the back. Like,
yeah, you know, and he had great stage presence. Yeah, a very commanding stage presence.
And when they came back for that Unbroken Eric tribute, like, benefit show in San Bernardino, like, the fever of, like, those OC dudes that I knew were like, yeah, it's cool Unbroken's playing, but I'm here for Outspoken. Whereas San Diego was the opposite, you know?
Yeah. That show was great. What do you remember about that show? Everything?
I remember.
How big was that place? I just remember it's like a little tiny arena, right?
Yeah, but everything was concrete. Like,
so what was that? Is that like an old?
It was
school,
an old
like,
boxing arena.
They
Like, they
probably
used to do
held like
boxing shows.
2,000 people.
2,500 probably.
Yeah.
But there was like 2,500 people on stage while Unbroken played.
Jesus.
Not quite, but
That show was wild. I was there.
yeah, my old band opened.
Palpatine opened, and
Yeah.
then the setup played in Crimson Curse,
Yep.
and that's the show. Outspoken and Unbroken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my friend did the video thing that the sound guy didn't record from the board.
Oh, shit.
So they had to use live sound, like with all this amazing like video production. Such a
Oh,
bummer.
okay. I was always wondering what was the sound, what the deal was with the sound. Was on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's such a bummer. The sound guy's like, yeah, I got you. And then didn't record anything the whole night. Yeah, it's such a bummer.
Okay, so that's 4 for me. Great.
I've got a few left.
Yeah, I can squeeze out number 4 right here. I'm gonna go Destroy the Machines with Earth Crisis.
I feel like we talked about this one a lot.
I have 3 left.
On the Firestorm. When we talked about Firestorm. No?
Not necessarily that we
Okay,
just...
so let's dig into it. You guys talk about it. Because
The only thing that we discussed is that Greg much preferred this to the 7 inches of Earth Crisis.
Yeah, because when I hear the first 7 inches, like I definitely hear the fury and like the energy and like all the anger. Like I hear all that, but I feel like with Destroy the Machines, like I feel like it just gets like super focused. It's like really thought out. And then, dude, the fucking playing on this record, I trip out on it. Like, just really, really good musicianship. Just writing songs, jumping from tempo to tempo. Like, lots of really interesting change ups. Like, it's like a very like stimulating record. It's like engaging. Like, just on a musical standpoint. Where I feel like those early 7 inches, I think it was way more maybe just like lyrically driven or like message driven, where I feel like on this one it's just like, no, you really hear like how good the fucking band is on Destroying
a well-toured, oiled machine
like,
that are pushing each other to get their chops up.
Exactly. So very interesting how
Also,
it starts off.
They were pretty much becoming at this time the biggest band in
The
hardcore.
band.
well, also like there's such a flashpoint in hardcore that they had to be good, right? Because they couldn't allow any sort of vulnerability because people were already like trying to poke at them for so many reasons.
Well, and it's
It's
also
like you have to be that powerhouse band. It's like you can try to like poke at me, but look at us, we shred.
Yeah, no, they definitely sound like that powerhouse band. The production, I think the guitars are super scooped, so like they kind of give it like the speakers that kind of thing when they do like the palm muting and the chugs. But
well, I think
also it has one of my top straight edge songs of all time, which is The Discipline.
I mean, seriously, to introduce what straight edge is to people that are watching 2020 or whatever, and they hear that you're straight edge and you're at work with them, and they're like, oh, isn't that crazy? It's like, no, it's this. And even more than playing straight edge, you're like, this lays it out. It's like, this is the political choice behind being straight edge. This is like, I'm not buying into the alcohol companies. I'm not going to kill myself with all of these things, and I'm not going to haze my mind because I'm going to watch what you're doing in this world to me politically and socially. It lays it all out. Like, this is the key to self-liberation for real. Like,
and that's why I like the record so much, because like the message is there. Like he lays it all out, but I feel like also too you have the music to back it up, where I feel like the first 2 things, it's just mostly like the message and the lyrics being put out.
I think this record is where it went from being the Ben Reed era of Earth Crisis, which was like energy, dive bombs, screaming, blah, blah. This was like the, other guitar player comes in, I think it's Chris Weichman for this record, comes in with Scott Krause, and they're like one-upping each other. And they're also, obviously their peers are not showing them anything musically. Metal is showing them more advanced chops and things like that. So they're delving further into that and bringing it into hardcore, all at the same time being the biggest band, the biggest known band currently in hardcore, at the time.
Like you said that in order, if they were going to be like a flash in the pan, like to be that good, to be able to sound like that, to be that tight, to be able to just write these songs.
I said they were a flashpoint. Like,
I thought you said flashpoint. Sorry.
No, like all eyes were on them.
Yeah.
So they couldn't afford to be sloppy.
Yeah, I'll watch like a video of them playing in this era, and then I'll watch other bands that are like maybe revered about the same. And like, dude, there is a fucking like solar system difference between Earth Crisis hitting the stage and like any of the other band of their peers at the time. Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, they don't fuck with speed at all, which is a little bit of a difference, right? Because when you add speed into the equation, you can definitely lose a little bit of tightness.
But this is a band that write a manifesto. Like, this is what we want to get across. This is the vehicle we're going to put it on that's going to smash you down with it. But you're going to hear everything. And we're not a joke. Like, we're talking about the Earth, fucking, global warming, etc. in 1995. We are warning of all of this, the wrath of sanity, like the new ethic, which is like, you have to go vegan to save the Earth,
So compare this, though, to the next record, the Gomorrah Season Ends. You think that this one stands out like way above that, or?
Yeah, because I think Gomorrah Seasons Ends, they go up their own ass a bit.
I don't know. I feel like the riffs are a little catchier. I feel like
the song that goes,
I
am straight edge.
But
that one is so Neanderthal-y great that it's amazing.
Yeah, I get where you're going.
But the riffs on that are like catchy and good and dark and weird. I like it. Yeah. I don't know. That album grabs me more than this one.
I don't know.
Not that I'm a fan.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think with Destroy the Machines, like the first. Can I do a Rocky analogy here? Where it's like
anything you want, dude.
Like the first two fights are just like through fucking sheer will and just like going for it. That like the message, just being able to like punch through all the way, and then like Apollo trains Rocky how to actually like fight. Yeah. And I feel like on Destroy the Machines, like that's what happens to the band. Like they tour. And like they really get it to where like they're just this like tight force at the time. Like they just literally wrenched it all together.
We talk about the bands that bring a bit to each things. I bet you, and I'm just guessing here, but I feel like Carl would say, I've got this to say, and I want this kind of a pace. I want it to really ring out at this point because this is the message, of course. The message is extremely important, whereas the message is a byproduct with lots of other hardcore bands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But
sorry,
yeah,
and the kitties.
And the artwork is really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the merchandise around this time was fucking phenomenal.
But do you think that Gomorrah's a fall off?
I fell off with them around that time. I mean, I still played that record into the ground.
I mean, it's 2 years later, there's new stuff coming.
Well, I was mining it for more, I want that same feeling the last one gave me, and it didn't quite. But, the I Am Straight Edge part definitely got me going. But there's not as many good songs as on Destroy the Machines where there's not really a lull. Even though it's similar tempo throughout the whole thing, each song is a little bit different take from the general manifesto of what Earth Crisis are talking about, and they're all really clever. And they, at this time, Earth Crisis was arguably the biggest band because of the polarizing nature that they brought to shows. Mm-hmm. You know, like, some people, especially pre-internet, would hear a rumor. I heard Earth Crisis did this, and so I hate them. You know, much like cancel culture in this world now, where people are hearing things and saying, "Oh, that person's done," and they haven't even checked in themselves. You know, a lot of the times, obviously, things are real and people do need to be exposed. But in this case, it was like half the scene was against this band on straight rumors. But when they came through the town, they were nice people and they fucking destroyed the machines and the stage.
All right, Daniel, do your next one.
Okay.
Just rip the Band-Aid.
Should I rip the Band-Aid? Okay. Fugazi, In on the Kill Taker. And the crowd goes mild.
I'm not going to blow up this time like last time.
Yeah,
I learned my lesson.
This record came out, and I think 1993, and it's got some of the harder, faster Fugazi parts, but this fly is driving me crazy. Sorry, Earth Crisis.
Yeah, you should give the fly like an envelope with $5 and tell it to leave because it's being too aggressive in here.
Ian Mackay shade.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
In on the Kill Taker is, I think, the pinnacle. A lot of people will, like later Fugazi more. Some people like 13 Songs era Fugazi the most. But I think this is right when everything they were writing was perfect. Like the differences on the record from, Facet Squared, like that intro that sounds like a heartbeat. It's the guitar just going, meaning, meaning. And then the bass comes in and it's just like, almost like, the way I describe it is like, that's the heartbeat. And then the bass is like the defibrillator, like bringing it to life. And then the whole song comes out of nowhere and it's just brilliant. And then, there's a straight up hardcore banger like Great Cop, which has been used on about 10 different skate videos. And I know I'm speaking to an echo chamber here because you guys both don't care about this at all, but from the artwork of the hazy Washington Monument with the handwritten like lines, like you've been a bad kid and you've got to write out the same lines over and over again, to the slow to fast parts throughout the record and the aggression, I think it's absolutely perfect. And I implore the listeners of this to listen to In on the Kill Taker by Fugazi.
I'm not saying anything bad about them musically. I mean, they are a great band. Like, you cannot deny them that at all. I was watching like some live video of them. They're kind of it looks like they're playing like a high school like auditorium type thing, and just like them flowing, just like as musicians up there and just playing, like I was like impressed. I'm like, but I don't consider them a hardcore band at all, and they would not consider themselves a hardcore band at all. And
I don't agree with that. I
Really?
think they would completely consider themselves a hardcore band.
I think they would have avoided. I think they avoided the H word as the plague, and they thought, I don't know, whatever. This is like touching into deeper feelings of where I think these dudes went. Like Revolution Summer happened, and then I always got that like level of like smugness to it, and kind of up your own ass about it.
This goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I think
I'm projecting.
Yeah, sometimes you think what the other person is thinking about you.
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Obviously, there was a Revolution Summer type vibe, and they will, when people would come to their shows and be like, "Play Myra's Threat," and like, "You fucking pussies," and like start wanting to mosh people and things like that, and he would pull out $5 and go, "Sir,
I saw a video. Well, I saw a video of like, him like, "Hey, Mohawk dude, you need to chill." It's like this fucker.
He's an authoritarian grandpa.
It's like this dude was out like breaking cameras on like SNL or whatever, So I've always been like,
but he will speak about that.
True.
He will be like, "I thought that was a time and a place. It was a time to fuck shit up, and things moved on.
For sure.
We wanted to talk
and
about
it's like
this now."
Things moved on for him, though.
He doesn't get to.
He doesn't get to dictate. So I think that
but he does get to impart what he wants. People can say "fuck you," I'm leaving. It's one thing or the other. But think people can. But my thing is why I think they would think they're a hardcore band, and why I say they're a hardcore band.
Fugazi or Embrace?
Fugazi.
Okay.
Because of the hardcore ethics, like to tour the world and only charge $5 to make sure your record is not more than $7 or $8, to make sure it's available everywhere, to make sure that women can come up front and not feel like they have to be, like smashed into by some dude, and they're trying to create a safe space for everyone. And I understand why, some people would be like, "Yeah, but it's a fucking hardcore show. I want to jump off the stage." Their viewpoint is to say, no, some people don't want to be jumped on. So let's just make it a safe space for everyone. And I know that safe space word is ad nauseum in this day and age, but at the time, it was a very hardcore thing to do in a hardcore world that didn't want that to happen.
Well, okay, let me just say this, because I got to talk on the subject.
Stop yawning at Fugazi, you bastard.
I think that the Fugazi call is less egregious than Embrace. Here's the
You won't let that Embrace thing go.
Well, here's the reason why is because Embrace is like them choosing to not do a hardcore band. Like the whole point of that band is to do something different that's not hardcore.
And that's what I think Fugazi is.
That's not hardcore. And yeah,
I think Fugazi's Fugazi. Like
it's a continuation.
I think the hardcore thinking behind both of these things is not necessarily we are choosing to shun hardcore. We are choosing to evolve it in a way that we are moving into another thing. We are still hardcore. We are still hardcore people. We still operate in hardcore manners. We still operate in a hardcore world, but we are bringing this to the table. And if you fuck with it, good. If you don't.
Okay.
It's evolving a little bit towards like, I don't know. I'm not well studied in the 60s, but maybe it's just evolving back into like a hippie culture.
Well,
if you want to like, have a show be nice and safe and sit on the ground and then have Joan Baez play. Like no one's gonna get hurt there. No girls are gonna get groped.
All right. Okay. You know
no
what?
One's gonna get stage
but why can't you as an individual that grew up stage diving and singing bring that with these ethics, with this sensibility, with this thing? Why can't you?
I think you can, but I think that it's not.
But I think it's very un-hardcore to say that's not hardcore.
Well,
personally,
when you take out a level of wildness, I think it loses.
But it's so fucking
hardcore
wild.
And punk rock.
It's so fucking wild.
They can be wild on stage. The crowd literally has to just stand there.
Like why?
They don't though.
No, you can respond in one of three ways that are pre-selected by the band on stage.
Tell me this doesn't sound wild.
I can just cut it in, Daniel. If you just tell me the song.
No, I love the iPhone.
It's great. I'm not saying that food's
fucking hard.
Who is arguing that Fugazi's not a good band?
Look, yeah,
but doesn't the way that breaks in, doesn't that make you want to slam?
And that's why you've got it in your bedroom.
I want to slam with like-minded people that love the song.
And you can do that.
Okay.
Cover it.
Okay, no, look, this is my beef. And I think now if you go, let's say you go to a fest, right? You can have a mix of like, you know, the one band that's going to sound like Marauder and then one band that's going to sound like, you know, Fugazi. And I'd say this generation can get down to both. Like, they're going to beat the shit out of each other during like the Marauder Boldo sounding band. And then they're going to like do the little like 90s emo wiggle guy thing up front for the Fugazi. But I think we had to go through like a couple generations to get the concert goer, like on show goer, to kind of understand that, to kind of be like, yo, like, okay, hey, like Integrity, this isn't the Integrity show, or like you're watching Fugazi, so they definitely want to have like a certain vibe that they're placing. So,
well, just look at Ceremony, right?
Yeah,
they encapsulate all of that in one set.
They can do that, true, but they're not like shunning anybody or doing that whole like waving finger thing.
I do understand
and that's kind of like always been like
the gripe.
My gripe with it.
Well, watch Instrument. You know, there's the kids that came to the show, like 90s hardcore kids in basketball jerseys that came to the show to fuck shit up, right? And he's like, I saw you eating ice cream, you ice cream eating motherfucker. You know, they're calling him out for being
I think
like dicks.
Like I think it's definitely like a know your environment type place. Like, I'm not going to go to a fucking indie rock surf show and start, you know, like throwing spin kicks or whatever.
All I'm saying is that there is a social message at that grandpa waving your finger thing,
Definitely.
which is you're probably not thinking of the people around you. A lot of these people don't want to be jumped on. I have to be the authoritarian to tell you off because it's the easiest thing to do, and I have the microphone. And I'm trying to make it a place where everyone could come and blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't know if that's right or wrong, personally, but I think it's pretty fucking hardcore to stand up to people.
I think
they should do secret balloting at the beginning of the show, and you get to vote what
this
you
next
want.
Tracks, the third song on the set list has been okayed to be a mosh song.
Moshing has been voted down 55 to 45, but stage diving is allowed except for foot first.
No, I understand.
No head walking.
No, they still
no head walking. That's 90-10.
Look, dude, and like why? Like, you still got to give props to Discord for just keeping like their records available for dudes to pick up like via distro and like sell it and still not gouge people.
Or if you just go up to the house, he invites you in and he shows you around the archive and everything.
I respect all that. Like, he still has like the echoes.
I'm sure he loves Daniel telling everyone, just show up at his house, man. He'll show you around.
No, I think like
he burned me in person when he did the spoken word at UCSD. He clowned me. I loved it.
Yeah. No, they have definitely kept those like original hardcore ethos of like DIY, not being in like keeping the show as $5, like keeping the shit all ages. Like, there's tons of things I respect about them. I will never consider them a hardcore band. They're just Fugazi.
Well, and also some of that stuff, like holding the prices and stuff, it can be counterintuitive now, in my opinion. Like, sometimes we need to charge more. Sometimes, like, bands do have to like get more money.
True,
but the way they're showing it is like, if you...
I know, but think about it. Like, door prices should have jumped to $10 like 10, 15
before
years.
we even started going
10,
to
15 years before, like, it did. And it's very easy to hold back prices and say everything should be $5.
It's easy for Ghazi to draw
when you're drawing 1,000
because they're drawing 1,000.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say to that. It's like certain bands can do that because it's like, oh yeah, we're drawing like you said, 1,000 kids on Wednesday. Sure, like $5 is cool for us, right? No, but I definitely
don't want it to all go to the promoter.
Yeah.
You know, if it was a $15 show,
no, but that definitely does not. That $5 rule cannot apply to
anybody
any other
else.
band. But
really.
that's another thing. Another reason why I beef some of that stuff, because I feel like it's all in its own little world, and it doesn't ever
Well, it's giving
real...
it's putting rules on people, and it's like everyone
someone-
everyone obviously is under different circumstances than them, right? I mean, like you've been hardcore famous since you're 20, and so for you to be the one that dictate how everything is
15, like with Teen Idols. You know?
Sure. So, but for you to set the rules, like this, a record should only be this, and a show should only be this, and here's how you should behave at a show. Maybe that's like righteous in your
I think
mind.
you're putting too much onto that.
But
this is my ability to say, I'm only charging this for a record. I'm going to be transparent. This is how much it costs to make the record. This is how much, but this is why the record's this. He's not saying that it has to be that way for everyone else. On stage, at their own shows, they get...
No,
they feel they get to dictate the way
I'm not arguing.
the
I'm
crowd
also not
behaves.
arguing against Emaki or Discord. Obviously, personal heroes, but I think this is a good discussion to have because, like, for most of our punk rock lifetimes, like this has been something that you never question.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
But it is an interesting point, right? Like, to me, I feel it's hardcore. To the two of you don't. But it's a fucking banger of a record, and I implore everyone to listen to it and then go...
Yeah, there's lots of very good up-tempo indie rock out there.
Are you putting Jimmy Eat World on your list?
I've never even heard that band.
What?
I haven't.
I'm not putting them in the same category as Fugazi.
No, that's
before.
like impossible. You've heard one of their songs.
you
Like,
definitely
it's
have.
fucking impossible for you not to have heard the middle.
Well, I watch most of the reality shows on MTV, so I've heard.
Yeah, you've
So
heard.
now you're hearing bands that you've never heard because they don't want to pay real royalties for good shit. Anyway,
Fugazi, not a hardcore band.
Yes, they
Moving
are.
on.
Yes, they are.
So now we're all to our final fifth.
No, I have two left.
Oh, then go ahead.
Integrity, humanity is the devil.
Beautiful. And so all of Integrity's classic albums come out in the 90s.
Yeah, but Those Who Fear Tomorrow comes out CD only for the majority of the 90s.
When does that get...
Those
it's not until Dwid does it. Huh?
Those Who Fear is 91, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is the blueprint for... It's the blueprint for Earth Crisis. It's the blueprint for Unbroken. It's the blueprint for... I mean, it is the left field crusher.
If that was on vinyl, are you choosing that over Humanity?
Probably... No. Humanity is the Devil is the pinnacle of Integrity. It is the absolute best of the songs and the playing and the production and the artwork.
It's the compromise
But
record.
it's a 10-inch.
It's the compromise record. Because it's probably the best sounding. The artwork is the best. And
that picture on the back.
is that the outdoor show?
Yeah.
Jump with the Melnicks? Yeah.
Yeah, the Melnicks.
It's pretty much like how to dress.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Dwid looks the coolest then with the short bleached hair and the basketball jersey.
Yeah.
And the big fucking X on his chest.
It's a good mix between, I mean, the way the record sounds and still having great songwriting. Because, I don't know, the song...
I mean, I can sum it up in one part why it's the fucking greatest thing ever is when Abraxas Annihilation goes from the slower riff and it then kicks into double time. And it kicks in.
Yeah, one of the greatest riffs ever.
You're moshing.
Yes.
At home, at the show, maybe even at school, maybe even at your job, you're moshing no matter where.
The slow down part for Trapped Under Silence, where it's like dun 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 dun. Just fuck.
The production at Mars Studio for that record, it's fucking perfect.
It's so much brighter than
let's just talk
Systems.
the record starting, vocal test.
Yeah.
It coming from, because Integrity, like, demons and all of these things, but then you hear this voice starting out of like from like Middle Earth,
Yeah.
like the mist that's on that vocal effect, like it's just like holy fuck. And then it goes into the next song, Human Furnace and him together, with that bass tone.
Yeah, that's a strangely like melodic song. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, all their riffs were very melodic.
Some of it, like there's that very like Metallica-esque on.
But then run through like
Systems.
Cleveland soil or something that just makes it sound like it could only come from there.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I think it's absolutely perfect. Like, Those Who Fear Tomorrow, unbelievable. Like, but the production is nowhere near what this is.
No, it's
but
not
it's
close.
Of a different thing.
But it's got the best songs. It's got great songs the whole way through. Where Humanity, which is insane to say because Abraxas is such a standout, the whole record is like, I want to listen to that as an album. You know, where it's not like the first record is like giant tracks smacked next to giant tracks. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Where this one is like sequenced to be listened to as the whole thing. And Systems is just I don't know, because I feel like I don't know where it falls off, but it just feels a little long.
There's a lully. There's a little bit of lulling.
But I don't know why, because
by going to a 10-inch, they just compacted that and they didn't.
Yeah, but it makes no sense because like my favorite songs on Systems are like in the middle of the record.
Yeah. Well,
but like there's just
and
something.
the title track is just
Yeah.
It's a fucking crusher.
Yeah, that album, it sounds a little. You guys have used the word muddy to describe certain records today, and I haven't really agreed.
Have you heard the new like Melnick produced remix of it?
I heard like who was a guy in the band for a minute, there was like remixes. He must have played like
the newer vinyl Systems Overloaded is remixed, I believe, by.
So this is the third mix,
and it's really fucking good.
Okay, I gotta listen to it. Is it on Spotify?
Probably. I don't know. Only listen to records because I'm a real fucking hardcore kid.
True. Well, I just don't know what version I have at home of that one. Anything else you want to say about Integrity? My favorite song would be Rise off the last good Integrity record of the 90's. Their comebacks, the comeback albums are great. Like that last time that they put out was good.
Well, he always recruits like contemporary dudes that are Integrity mega fans, you know, and then gets them in a band and they do the job.
That's a smart move. If you like get find like a younger cat that like likes your band but can also stand on his own, you know, and kind of is doing his own thing, and you're gonna be able to get like a good take of your classic sound, but it's always gonna have, you know, a new current twist on it.
Because that To Die For record, I think, was just My Luck and Weird.
It was
right.
It was the jock. Yeah. So the final word.
Oh yeah,
Final Plan.
The Final Plan.
It was the Jockum brothers.
Exactly, and their Final Plan was Integrity Worship anyway.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of American Nightmare Worship.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah. Anything else on Integrity?
The Pushead artwork for it.
It's the best art for sure.
And yeah, I mean we've glazed over it, but that back picture
and that photo,
you look at it and you're like, what show is this? Why are they outside? Why are they under a bridge? Like, and they're all doing the fucking epic Youth Crew like jumps at the same. You just like, I wish I was there.
Yeah, I wish I was there. Finally, I'm gonna cheat once. Mine is a tie for number 5 between the Bastard Wind of Pain LP. Death Side Bet on the Possibility. And if I'm leaning,
I don't know either of these, and I'm going to make a decree here that neither of them are hardcore bands.
we'll listen to them on the way to your show tonight. I'm leaning Bastard just because it's the angriest, most intense record maybe ever. It's like, I don't know, if you another terrible comparison that you've knocked me on before, but if you want to say that Rick the Life is taking one voice, Roger, and turning it up to 11, this is the Bastard Wind of Pain is like taking Discharge and turning it to 11 with like, you're still DB, you're a little faster, and the vocals are just the most angry fucking thing you've ever heard. I will say the Death Side Bet on Possibility, it's a little catchier. They fuck with melody
Yeah, they
a
do.
little more. And like some of the riffs on it are just absolutely insane. And we got to talk about the intro with like the rain and the
Yeah.
fucking he's ringing out
Just
like
those-
a real chord.
Yeah.
Where are
So
these
sick.
bands from?
Japan.
Yeah.
It's both Japan. Okay. So that shit is like fucking Kung Fu Hustle. You know, like the part when like
We're back.
we're back.
We're back to Kung Fu
No, when like
Hustle.
there's those two fucking dudes and they're like
Yeah.
they're fucking shooting like the daggers come off like the fucking
It's about to
whatever.
pop off.
Yeah, it's like dude, it's fucking storming and you're hearing diddling. It's like some shit's gonna fucking happen. And then the second song on the record, Live and Live, that fucking riff, the it's probably my favorite riff ever. And that would be like my ride to battle song. Like if I had to. Like, sorry dude, like you have to like get on this horse and ride into battle. Like if I had earbuds, that would be the song I'd play. The Floating Blood, it's like the greatest Motorhead song that never was, you know? And I don't know. I love it. But I think I'm going to lean Bastard on it just because it's like...
You know what? You can have both.
How short? Okay. How short is that record? It's really short. But it's just like, it's intense. It fucking bangs. It's, yeah, it's only 8 songs, 10 songs.
Yeah,
something.
no, it's definitely like
It's just it's
a
over in a
hard-
minute, and it's the most brutal thing ever. Without going into
Such a funny
Great.
band name too, Bastard.
Bastard, without going to grindcore or power violence.
Yeah, it's just
it's the most intense hardcore punk
Right on
album
that line,
ever. Never dipping into any sort of like blast beat or like the crazy punk beat or anything. It's just full throttle, epic, and more hardcore than Fugazi.
oh, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, I'll go with my last.
Okay.
I'm going to bring it back to New Age Records.
Oh.
It's Always Darkest Before the Dawn by Turning Point.
Think again, fucked up. Still time to close my eyes, and I'm looking for something solid. The eyes are your fucking minds. Start to face up to what stands in your way. Why can't you face up?
Really? Okay, because I would say I enjoy the Turning Point 7-inch more.
Yeah, oh, the 7-inch,
Yeah.
not the split.
No, okay, the 7-inch
the
and
comp
then
tracks.
the 7-inch and then the comp tracks.
Yeah,
are my
So
two favorites.
So this is why I love this record so much. And we were criticized by a couple people by not having those Turning Point things in the 7-inch, the Turning Point No Escape split, by not having that in the 7 inches description.
Really?
Yeah, because people fuck with that turning point so heavy,
Yeah.
because it really kind of births a genre almost.
Sure. It's great.
But
I'm surprised that we didn't talk about it too.
the reason I like this is because it's almost to that point, but it's also half youth of today.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then there's the weird wild card of the slap bass that like shouldn't work and you shouldn't like it at all, but it fucking really adds to those songs. Like bang, bang.
It's good.
So
I just feel
do you not like Primus? Then I'm taking.
No, I fucking hate Primus with a passion. Seriously, I really. They're up there in my worst 5 bands of all time.
Oh, really?
I saw them. Actually, Jared and I went to go see them at the Escondido Performing Arts Center. Play the entire Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory soundtrack. It was fucking fantastic. Let me just sum it up. Like the people that were around me, it's like a like a human YouTube comment section. Like that's the crowd, and it was fucking ripping.
All I know is that Winona's got a big old beaver or something.
A big brown beaver. Great
My
song.
name is Mud.
So I saw Primus in 92 or 93 open for
Maybe
Smashing.
Rick the Life
Is he
is
the-
trying to sing like the Primus bass. Going.
He's too high. But, he
No,
probably is.
Okay,
too
so
high.
it's
Rick's got range, dude.
This Turning Point LP, it would be hard for me to choose because it's overshadowed by the other material, I think, and it's similar in the way I think about Instead.
I just think the way it fucking looks too. He's like coming out of the dark with that youth crew jump.
Yeah,
the handprint.
I like
the
that.
kind of like
I like
I'm
all that.
touching you on the heart. Like, and the song "Face Up." Can you play where much like we talked about where the music goes from one part? It's like the fastest breakdown. We talk about like it's
Yes.
coming after a fast part to a breakdown. The breakdown is so fast, but so good, and then it goes a little bit slow. It's time for you to face up, and I fucking God, I love that so much. And then the title track is just it is epic. Now there are parts of the album that can't hold up to these other parts that described, but in general, I think this era has taught us one thing, is that a lot of bands maybe included 1 or 2 extra songs that they probably should have trimmed to make, a record perfect. But I'll live with it because I love the emotion coming out of such a youth crew like presentation. And it ticks all the boxes for me, and I really love that record.
Yeah, I just think the 7-inch is so much better. And I put it in kind of with Instead, like the LP is just not as good as 7-inch. Like the Instead 7-inch is so fucking good. That's something we didn't talk about on the 7-inch episode. Do either of you guys?
Or
love
the
it?
80s, really?
Will make the difference.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Greg,
Yeah, I've never really dived too much into it Instead.
the 7-inch is like every single song is a hit. It's pretty wild. And then I fucking love that song on the second Instead LP. So that I'm not condemning those who choose metal riffs or write lyrics that don't make any sense. Instead will be the same.
This is the second time he's freestyled
He
this
loves
song
it. Part?
on the
He
7
fucking loves it.
Goddamn, I love that song, dude. I remember when they played Ventura, there was a bunch of us that started freestyling that because they weren't going to play it.
And
so
then they had to go into it.
No, we sang like half the song for them, but they didn't.
Did they
know
put
how
the
to play
mic
it.
out?
Yeah, they were stoked.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, it's a great song.
Yeah. But, they thought everyone was showing up to hear Bonds of Friendship. Period.
Which is, I love that album cover, but some people think that album cover is terrible.
I think it's amazing. I think there's nothing more sincere than that album cover.
Ryan Fredette's only tattoo.
Yeah. And it's the
That's
most...
the kids,
Yeah.
like this fucking Stand By Me
Yeah.
type
It's
shit.
so sincere. Like, the music's so sincere, and then the artwork, like, anyone who fucks with Instead are idiots because they just mean well,
They're nice boys. They mean wow.
All right, Greg, hit us with the final countdown.
Here's the final one, dude. I hope it's as good as the the Bryce Hill. Greg, what's your last?
Well, I was gonna say I'm a poser because I didn't know there was an LP version. I was gonna put Those Who Fear. I didn't know that was a strictly CD only. Which
for the 90s, but it is now available on LP, and we've talked about it, like, and the influence. Unless you want to add to that.
Yeah, one thing I think we should talk about before we do that, because we talked about that record a little bit. We'll go into it more, but let's talk about the 90s and then also records that did not make it
I got
to vinyl.
I got one that didn't make it to vinyl. I just have like an honorable mention, and this is kind of polarizing in a way, but like because this happened years after the fact that these records came out. But
what are anybody's honorable mentions?
I don't know. I feel like all the ones you guys chose were really good.
I mean,
I do want to talk about some bands that didn't make it to LP though.
well, I before we jump to there, I just want to, like, another thing that technically probably wouldn't be called hardcore. It's more hardcore adjacent, but Slip by Quicksand, that's a honorable mention for me. I know it's not traditionally just straight up hardcore, but God, what a fucking record.
No, I love that record.
And then
Wait, no, so who was I talking to about this? But who, since we got 90s dudes in the rooms, did Tool rip off Quicksand on a certain song?
I don't know, are we speaking about more pedophiles?
Oh, is the Tool guy a pedo?
Yeah, well,
No,
my friend Dana was 13 when she went and saw them, and he asked for a phone number and would call her repeatedly.
Oh, weird.
Creepy. And she's lucky that, she says, like, I'm lucky my brother was such a mega fan and would jump on the phone as well, because she's like, I would have done anything. I loved him, you know. Creepy.
I'm not familiar with Tool's catalog.
And
Other than, what? Dude, what about that? They wrote the Ultimate Straight Edge song, didn't they? Why can't we all be sober?
there's a difference between choosing to be straight edge and being sober. Boom.
Damn, hot take.
Was that like some deep AA shit?
Well, no, it's just that, you know, like,
It's never too late
I've
to
got
start.
the sickest drug-free tattoo on my forearm. You know, if you like real 90s shit.
That is real 90s.
It is.
Yeah. You know, and people always come up to me like, hey, man, how long you been clean? I'm like, my whole life.
Oh.
Since Destroy the Machine.
Anyway, so, yeah, go ahead and talk about your CD. Zach's CD Corner.
Yeah, well, I just want to say that if this came on LP, it would be top 3 for me in the 90s, which is Powerhouse No Regrets. I think it's one of the greatest hardcore albums ever. It's like total wild style. It's total awesome mix between old school and new school New York hardcore. Lyrically, it's great. Sonically, it's great. The drumming is out of this world, ridiculous.
It's also cool because it's like East Coast dudes move to California, meet up with California dudes, and this weird brand of East Coast hardcore comes out of the Northern California, but has that California tinge to it.
Yeah, but a very New York vibe, but making it their own Oakland brand hardcore. You know?
Exactly.
And I just love that record so much. I also love the 7-inch, the Pandemonium 7-inch. And I do enjoy the second record as well that also only came out on CD. It just lost a little bit of the wildness. It was a little bit more of a thought out, like kind of going a little more in the Madball direction, which is just really, really hard to do. And it was just a more thought out record where No Regrets was just full wild style. It was a lot of the songs off the demo that they did. And it's a crazy record that, again, like a lot of that 90s shit, you could never put people in the studio and have them walk out with a record sounding like that. And I just love it. And then also I wanted to mention, I love the Hoods Alone LP. I actually love most of the Hoods catalog, and I feel like they're a criminally underrated band. When Mikey was playing guitar, Mikey was like a pretty insane guitarist and underrated in that regard. And then as far as songwriting, he's the guy that came in and out of like playing like the punk and metal stuff like really good. And he was like a lot of the Hood stuff was a huge influence on the way I wrote songs, because it was like, I don't know, it was hardcore and metal, but very like, a lot of it was like sporadic. The makeup of the songs were not traditional, but they still had like that hardcore spirit of like keeping the songs like short.
What did Hoods kind of just drift into like just kind of straight goon territory?
I think that like the lineup that they had for like the Alone LP,
Because I feel like the early Hoods shit has like that like hardcore spirit as opposed to just like, oh hey, the venue's gonna get shut down right now on the later shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it ever went goon as you describe. Because I don't really know. I saw Hoods probably the last time would have been a couple years ago when they came down here. They played over one of the spots like in City Heights. Not Tower Bar. What's the other one? It used to be like a bigger venue, then they cut it in half.
Oh, Till 2 Club.
Yeah, Till 2. That was cool. They play newer stuff now, and then they played the Chula joint when at the rec center. You remember that you were doing shows at for a while
with shit was Furious Styles on that show.
I think that would have been too late for Furious Styles, right? I guess it was 10 years ago. Anyway, I love Hoods, and I think Mikey, he had to switch to singing because he couldn't keep a singer.
Well,
but Ben was such a good singer, and he had that voice, like the very Roger, one voice era voice.
No, we played with we did like a tour, Sheer Terror, and we played in Sacramento, and we played in a Booze Fighters motorcycle clubhouse with like a gajillion like Central Valley beatdown bands. And Hoods was like the headliner.
Yeah.
No, Sheer Terror was the headliner, but then like Hoods played right before, and Hoods fucking crushed it. This is literally one of the longest days of my life, just being in a biker compound, but definitely heavy dude presence.
Yeah. But
seeing the Hoods in like that environment, I was like, dude, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're great, and yeah, if you haven't heard that Alone EP, I'm not trying to be a hipster, like shouting out to the early stuff, but
what's that record? Time the Destroyer.
It's great.
What year is that? Is that 2001
or earlier?
Okay,
that's the first LP, like LP. They did so many recordings, and there's like a bunch of splits.
Yeah,
their first 7-inch is like 94 on Rick the Life's label though, 94, 95 on Back to Basics. And then they do a split with Lockjaw from Buffalo. Shout out Sweeper, if you ever listen. And yeah, and then I think they do the Alone EP, and it just sounds really good. I'll play it for you guys if you're not familiar with it. That's all I got. 185 miles south.
Why is there no Palpatine 14 Ways to Embrace Death in CD Corner?
Why is there no Voice of Defiance, Oxnard Hardcore? Oh, I guess... Yeah, I never did an LP in the 90s.
Lightweight.
I know. I didn't do an LP until the year 2001.
Yeah, neither did I. I was in elementary school.
Palpatine did an LP?
A CD.
It only was a CD, right? Yeah.
I think I was listening to Dude, I was definitely bumping fucking Offspring Smash like front to back, dude.
Hard.
Them?
Oh fuck yeah.
No.
No, well, there was the radio hits, and then everything sandwiched in the radio hits was like all like the just like faster SoCal shit.
I will say
I love that record. I don't give a shit.
that record, the last few tracks on it are like the best.
Oh fuck yeah.
Like you talk about front loading records, like that one is like. I'm trying to think of the fucking song I like so much. I can't remember.
Killboy.
To all the,
No,
to all the listeners, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Oh yeah, hold on. Let's talk about fucking Fugazi.
Trendy asshole, do what I want, do what I feel like. I'm not a
Uno, dos,
trendy
tres,
ass-
cinco, cinco, cinco.
Well, that came later. That came 2 records later. Hey, the way it starts off, that song Nitro, Youth Energy.
Yeah, the drum
It's
roll.
fucking sick.
Yeah, dude. Anyway,
Yeah, dude, I was in like
Shout
fucking
out to
like
Noodles.
second grade, dude.
Shout out to Noodles if you're listening.
all right. Anything else on this one?
We'll be back for the 2000s, so we're sorry about that.
Yep. This is already long.
Yeah,
enough.
tune in next episode to hear about records from only 2000 to 2002.
Except
I
for
know,
Greg
what
doing
is your list?
2008 to 2010.
Oh no, it's gonna encompass them.
Wow.
I'm joking.
Yeah. And who's going in the 2000s Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And don't forget to donate to the Patreon. And then there'll soon be a single Daniel Sant Patreon coming up soon. So, no, just kidding. Donate to Zach. Seriously, he does this out of love for doing this and preserving hardcore and making it like a social document. And you really should chip in because you get this for free. And, you know, $1 a month is not going to kill you.
Yeah, and eventually we got to have the Patreon only podcast 400 Miles North where Daniel only talks about Ian McKay projects.
No, where I talk about quality records for quality people. That's the name of my...
I'm not a trendy asshole. Do what I want.
Hey,
Do what I feel like.
chip in and hit them. You want feedback? Would you want suggestions?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Feedback, suggestions. You know what to do.
Yeah, because I have to hear it through the grapevine when people are like, "Oh, why isn't Zach like interviewed this person?" Or
Yeah, suggest who the topics and things that you want to see happen on the podcast. Also, make sure you chime in with what your favorite Offspring song is. We really need to know that.
yeah, and
Personally, mine is "Kill the President." That's on one of their later '80s releases.
I will say that I probably do have a favorite Offspring song. "Kick Him When He's Down." I think that's a pretty
We all do.
good song.
I like the Reason to Believe LP more, and they sound a lot like Offspring. Dude, When Demons Dance or whatever, what is that? You're not familiar with the Reason to Believe?
No, I'm
LP?
familiar with it, but I don't see the Offspring correlation that much.
The singing is kind of similar.
The track called "Bad Habit" on Smash.
Ooh, because I got a bad habit.
Hey, there was a part, and my brother and I, so we'd have the cassette in the old Corolla, and my mom would be driving, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a part where like he breaks it, and he goes like, "You stupid dumb shit, goddamn motherfucker, liar fucker."
What?
I know. So what like we'd be driving, and like every time that part would come on, like my brother would just like turn the volume all the way down and just like bring up like some type of conversation with my mom, and then like he'd be like, "Hey, did you?" and then just crank it back up to it. Like we had a time, because if that part came on, that shit was going in the trash.
It's going to Roadside Records.
Oh yeah.
I just gotta say, sorry, dear listener, but you've been exposed to a lot of Offspring talk from two people who tried to rail and trash Fugazi into oblivion.
Yeah, so dudes that like Offspring did what dudes that like Offspring do.
It didn't make my list, dude.
Hey, you gotta
I think
keep them separated. You gotta keep this separated.
Smash,
Dude, how about another sign? Another sign of the
Smash
times
makes my top 5. Fuck all
on
y'all.
that on that Offspring record. Total sign of the times doing like a secret track, but this one was just garbage. It's just the guy noodling on that stupid riff.
His name is Noodles. Dude. His name is Noodles.
Dude, please
Dude, when noodles,
play. Play the tracks and fade it out.
Noodles squared.
Noodles. That shit is fucking rough.
That's a new band name.
That could be a
Yo, we are when noodles.
dude. That's a new Death by Stereo track. Anyway,
That's Shade.
no, they have the silly song titles like that, right?
Shade Rattle.
Anyway, shout out the Minor family. Later.